Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, as you can see from the title, this is a tutorial on this look right here. It is very glam, it is very neutral and warm. It is perfect for really any of those summer holidays, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July. Really, you're just hanging out by the pool, but you don't want to go in. You want to look fierce all day. You know, it's very bronzy, very glittery, very glowy. The skin looks very healthy, but it's not super overdone. I need to go a little lighter on the coverage. And yeah, so if that's something you're into, make sure to keep on watching. And please don't forget to subscribe because I do upload twice a week, and that is the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. Today's actually also kind of a first impressions video. I am trying out the Marc Jacobs shadows. I do mention it in the video, but my Makeup Geek shadow from Manny MUA is old, and these aren't really performing the way they used to. So Brandon actually picked me up a palette that kind of has the exact same color story, so now I have an updated version. This is basically the look that I would have done with this palette in its heyday. So if that's something you want to see, again, let's get right into the video. So for the sake of time, I did already do my brows and prime my eyes already off camera. So I'm going to start by going in with primer. Somebody actually asked me the other day if when I pick out my two primers, they're arbitrary or if there's actually a reason. I'm going to start with the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. And I do like to go in with this one because it's more of like a moisturizing primer. And it does give you a little bit of that tacky base for your makeup to stick and last all day. Typically, I will sort my primers into two different categories. I know a lot of you have heard this already, but for those of you who haven't, first, I like to do a moisturizing primer, which will give you more of like a tacky base. That'll be your J1 Jelly Pack, your Vitamin Enriched Face Base. And then the second primer I'll go in with is usually going to be a pore refining primer. That's when you get into your Benefit Professionals, my TATCHA the Silk Canvas, which I'll be using today, my No Poreblem. Actually, the No Poreblem is kind of a mixture of the two. When I use that, typically I'll only go in with one. Anyway, that's how I kind of pick them. So I'll always go in with one that's a little more tacky, just to kind of help everything adhere. And then following that up, I'll go into my, ooh, that is really washed out, a pore refining primer. The reason that I picked the Vitamin Enriched Face Base from Bobbi Brown as opposed to the J1 Jelly Pack is that, especially on a day like today where I'm doing something that's really like bronzy and glowy, I really want to be moisturized and hydrated. That one will mattify a little bit more, whereas this one will just like plump the skin and give you a little bit more life to it. So then as I go throughout my day, just enough of the oils come through to really help me glow, but I don't get like gross and oily. For foundation today, I'm going to be going in with what I refer to as the Jaclyn Hill combo. It is taking the Dior Skin Forever and blending it over the Hourglass Vanish stick. She did it in a tutorial a while back, and what she did was she just kind of dotted the hourglass everywhere, which is a little bit more coverage. And then once she had that pretty much wherever she wanted it and wanted the coverage, she took a little bit of the Dior and used that to blend it out. For concealer, I'm not going to go like full on triangle Brighten today. I do want it to be a little more natural. So I'm going to be taking the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. I'm in the shade C5. And I'm just going to add a little bit to the under eye to cancel out some of the dark circles. And then I am going to brighten down the tip of the nose and the forehead. I'm just going to kind of focus a little bit less under here than I normally do, because we really do want these very bronzy cheeks, and I think an overly contrasted under eye won't exactly kind of translate. And then just to smooth everything together, going back into the foundation brush, I'm just going to kind of blend out those edges. And to set everything in place today, I'm going to be taking the Too Faced Ethereal Setting Powder. This was in the back of my drawer. I used to love this. This was a favorite. If I remember correctly, this was actually a favorite for Best of Beauty 2017. That's how much I liked it. But I just, you know, it goes to the back of the drawer. I forget about it. I go back to Airspun. I try new things. But recently I picked this back up and I have been really enjoying it. And something else I've been doing lately is rather than go in with a foundation as a setting powder, I've just been taking my translucent and setting everywhere, just really in the summers. In the winter, I really like to pack on the coverage, but in the summertime, when everything's just a little bit lighter, I tend to just take my translucent powder and dust that everywhere. So I'm gonna add a little more powder just to the under eyes, just so I can bake that a little bit, and as well as down the side of the nose. Okay, so I just dusted off the bake and the skin is looking powdery as all hell. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of MAC Fix Plus and really get some of that powderiness down. And I'm gonna take a dry sponge and just kind of pat that Fix Plus into the face. All right, we're already looking a little more lifelike, so I'm gonna go in with bronzer now. I'm taking the Benefit Hoola, and I'm actually gonna go a little bit overboard on the bronzer compared to what I normally would do. Because this is gonna be very summer and very outdoorsy and stuff that I am not normally into, we really wanna like fake that we look sun-kissed, because Lord knows the sun is not hitting my skin. So then I'm actually gonna take a little bit more on a Morphe R10, and I'm just gonna concentrate a little bit more color right into the hollows where I'm gonna end up contouring later. I just wanna lay down this warm base because I don't want my contour when I blend it out to get too cool toned, because again, we do want that sun-kissed effect. Now I got this in my BoxyCharm in May. It is the PUR Sculpter Palette, and I have been loving using this contour shade, Inventor. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that and I'm actually gonna blend it into the bronzer. Then dipping back into that first brush, I'm just gonna kind of blend all of that together. So now that we're looking bronzy and glowy, I'm gonna take a little bit of the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder, and I'm just going to re-brighten up the under eye. For blush today, I'm taking Luminoso from Milani. This is a little bit more of like a semi-sheer and shimmery blush. So I'm actually gonna take that on the whole cheek area. I start by focusing that up where I contoured and then dragging it to the apples when there's not so much left on my brush. Now I mentioned a few videos ago that I've really been focusing on using products that I've kind of been neglecting or just haven't used. This, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit partnering with Nicole Guererro, was a glow palette that I literally lived off of for a very long time. And new things come out and we play with new things, and I forgot how much I loved it. So I'm gonna dip into this today. I'm gonna start with the shade 143, which is the deepest bronzy shade. And I'm just gonna lay that down on the cheekbones. I don't know why I ever put this down. And I am gonna take that on the Cupid's bow and down the nose as well. Now that is gorgeous and it's very bronzy, but just to add a little bit of a pop, normally I would go in with Glow Getter and then Forever Lit. For my blinding highlight today, because I am going a little bit deeper, I'm gonna take 143 and then Glow Getter will be the high points. Now for eyes today, I'm gonna link my Manny MUA Life's a Drag palette review. But in the beginning of that video, I did talk about how the Makeup Geek Manny MUA collaboration palette was one of my all-time favorites. And I love the colors in here, and while swatching it for that video and doing some comparisons, I noticed that a lot of these shades are dried out and they really don't perform the way they used to. I have had a horrible week at work and Brandon wanted to surprise me and get me a replacement. So he picked up Scandalust by Marc Jacobs, and honestly, they are so similar when you look at the color stories, like with the exception of this shade right here and one of these two browns, which really you don't need both, like one is plenty. It has everything I need out of here that I no longer have. So I'm gonna be playing around with that today. So the lids are already primed and set down with a translucent powder. So for the first wash of color, I'm gonna dip into my M504, and I'm going to start with the shade At the Office, which is the second shade right here. And I'm just gonna use that to gently start setting down the crease. Then, just to deepen that up a little bit lower, I'm gonna go into That's Why, this medium camel brown, And I'm really just gonna focus that right into the socket of the eye. Then dipping into Little Miss, this brown, which actually has a little bit of a purple undertone in it, I'm gonna focus that really tightly just on the outer portion of the eye. And I'm not gonna take that too far up or too far in. I'm really just going to, in quick little circular motions, just add that definition on the outer portion of the eye. So then just to kind of tie it all together, I'm gonna go into the last matte shade, Scandalust, which is the Cranberry. And I'm gonna take that and I'm going to use it to blur out these edges. And I am gonna actually drag that towards the inner portion of the eye. And once I feel like that red is built up to where I like it, I'm gonna go back into that first shade at the Office and just really blend out the upper portion of the lid, not going down to the crease, but really just defining the lines where I might have gone a little bit overboard with the red. Then for the brow bone, I'm going to take Hot Pants right here. It looks like it's a matte, it's actually more of a satin, and I'm just gonna gently hit up just at the high point of the brow and then blend that under the tail. And I'm going in with a light hand with this because I like my brow bone highlight to be a little bit more gentle and not like bam, like I like the inner corner. Now I am gonna be going in with this bronzy shade. I'm gonna start with it dry, and then if I want to intensify it, I'll add it wet. So it's definitely pretty vibrant. I don't think I want to use it wet, but I am definitely gonna take it with my finger to intensify it a bit. Then back into that crease brush, I'm just gonna blend out any of those edges. Next, I'm gonna throw a little bit of a purple liner in the waterline. Because this brown has such purple tones in it, I really wanted to play off of that. Now that that purple is down, I'm gonna take a little bit more of Little Miss, the deep purpley brown, and I'm just going to set that down and gently smoke out the lash line. And I'm not gonna take it too far down, but I am gonna add just enough to really make it smoky. And then on a larger pencil brush, I'm gonna go back into that camel brown shade, That's Why, and just kind of blend around that purple. Next, to kind of tie this whole thing together, I'm gonna start by taking a little bit of the last shade, Cause a Fuss, which is this shimmer right here. And I'm going to use that to highlight the inner corner. So originally I thought that was gonna be a little bit more bright. It's a little bit too muted. So I'm gonna go back into the Anastasia Glow Kit and take Forever Lit and just pack a little bit of that white highlighter over the inner corner. To tie this whole thing together, I'm gonna take a little bit of glitter. This is Bronzed Belle from Stila. And I'm gonna add just a little bit to the inner portion of the lid, and then I'm just gonna pat it out with my finger. So now I'm just gonna throw on some lashes and liner, and I'll be right back. So every time I put on mascara, I'm looking at it, I'm doing the first coat, and I think to myself, you know what, this looks so good, I might skip falsies, and then I never do. Today, I dipped back into the Voluminous Lash Paradise from Loreal, and honestly, I'm loving how much my lashes are looking today. I am gonna skip falsies, so I'm gonna just head on to lip. So the base of the lip today is going to be Androgyny from Jeffree Star. Since I do have a lot of warmth going on, I wanted this like soft mauve-y base before I go in with the gloss. So I'm just gonna throw this on really quickly. So then I'm going to dust over that with the Fenty Universal Gloss Bomb. And the last thing I'm gonna do today is take a little bit of the Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray and just hit up the sides of my face to really just amp up that glow. And that's the finished look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my very, I mean, for me, this is a neutral, subtle glam, but this is a very like glowy bronzy tutorial that is perfect for 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, really any of those summer days. A lot of people will say it's a little too much on the lip, and you can totally tone it down and go with something a little more nude. But I've been doing so many like glammy warm eyes with nude lips that I really wanted to change it up. And honestly, this is something that I would wear to a outdoor barbecue. I'm very glowy, I'm very glam. You know, you can go giant sunglasses, you can go huge lashes, or you can really just rock this and be totally okay with it. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.